you for joining us today. My name is State Representative Christy Pagan. I serve Canton Township, Van Buren Township in the city of Belleville. I also serve as the Progressive Women's Legislative Caucus Domestic Violence Subcommittee Chairwoman. I'm joined here today with my colleague from Grand Rapids, Representative Winnie Brinks, who is the chair of our Progressive Women's Legislative Caucus. We are also waiting on Senator Warren, who is a member of our caucus, as well as other colleagues. Today we're here because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we want our legislative colleagues to be aware of bills that combat domestic violence straight on and the action that's needed beyond the criminal justice system. Sadly, domestic violence is a persistent problem both in our state and our country. It is estimated nationwide an act of domestic violence takes place every 9 seconds. That means by the time I finish this sentence, someone will have been battered by a person in their life that they should be able to trust. Michigan is not immune to this epidemic. A recent survey of Michigan agencies that provide services to victims and survivors of violence took a look at the demand of services on one typical day in Michigan, September 16, 2013. On that one day alone, they found nearly 2,300 adults and children sought help for domestic violence shelters. Another 173 people were turned away because of lack of space. That day, 779 people sought services to recover from domestic violence, such as legal advocacy, counseling, or children's support. 400 calls were made to domestic violence hotlines where workers connect with people seeking to escape violence with resources in their community. And that was just one normal day. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in her lifetime. That means domestic violence transcends all categories we put ourselves in, including race, religion, socioeconomic status, and political identity. It isn't someone else's problem, it's everyone's problem. And it's a problem that won't go away on its own. Addressing domestic violence will take a coordinated effort among lawmakers, police, prosecutors, and those who provide services to survivors, such as domestic violence shelters and counseling. And we're ready to do our part. 6 months ago, we introduced legislation that would provide useful tools to people seeking to escape domestic violence and seek justice. Unfortunately, these bills have not received attention from the current leadership here in our House and their respective committees, Judiciary and Commerce. Today, we're here to change that. I'd like to welcome my colleague, Representative Brinks, who will describe what these bills will do. Thank you, and welcome, Representative Brinks.
Thank you, Representative Pagan. Again, my name is Winnie Brinks. I represent Grand Rapids, and I am truly grateful to be here today speaking about this important issue. It is a serious challenge for far too many people in Michigan and for far too many families. Back in March, we introduced some important legislation that would provide practical help to people who want to leave abusive situations. Domestic violence experts agree that one of the main reasons people remain in abusive relationships is that they lack the support they need to leave them. These bills seek to lower those stumbling blocks and make it easier to get away and to seek justice. One of the bills, House Bill 4414, that I sponsored, directs all employers who offer earned paid sick leave to allow workers to use that time to seek help from shelters, from police, prosecutors, or doctors. No one should lose their job because they need a day to move into a domestic violence shelter. Another proposal makes sure that domestic violence victims aren't disqualified from receiving unemployment benefits for conduct that was the consequence of domestic violence. If a person has to leave a job or relocate geographically in order to escape abuse, she should not be denied those benefits. If a woman must leave a job because a violent partner shows up there to intimidate her or to threaten or abuse her, she shouldn't be punished with the loss of unemployment benefits. If a person loses a job because he or she needed a day to move into a shelter, they should not be excluded from unemployment. The last proposal would protect domestic violence victims when they seek housing. It would declare that real estate agents or landlords couldn't exclude someone as a customer or tenant simply because they are a domestic violence victim. After all, someone who wants to leave a violent home needs some place to go. The inability to find a secure place to call home is one of the many reasons that victims of domestic violence often stay in an abusive relationship. I know that these proposals will give many adults and children trapped in abusive homes the tools that they need to get out. And now I'd like to let you hear a little bit from Senator Warren.
Thank you, Representative Brinks. Thank you all for being with us today. I'm Senator Rebecca Warren. I represent the bulk of Washtenaw County in the state Senate, and it's my pleasure to be here with all of our colleagues to recognize the importance of Domestic Violence Month. Domestic violence is often a hidden crime because survivors are afraid to come forward. We need to do all we can to empower survivors to leave abusive situations, to report the crimes against them, and to make new lives for themselves and any children they may have. Part of ensuring survivors of domestic violence can live without fear is making them feel safe in their own homes. Bills in this package, as you recently heard, would prevent landlords and realtors from discriminating against an individual based on their survivor as a survivor of domestic violence. They also need to know that they can enter a criminal justice system without re-victimization. Survivors of domestic violence should not be forced to sit across a mediation table from their abuser or have protecting themselves or their children count against them in child custody proceedings. This bill package will address these egregious issues and help ensure that our legal system does not penalize individuals brave enough to use it to fight against their abusers. You've heard mentioned here a lot of hurdles this morning that survivors can face. Economic hurdles, reporting hurdles, legal hurdles. Each of these has the potential to derail a survivor's commitment to moving forward. And I'm proud to have the opportunity to work with a diverse group of legislators to address the barriers that domestic violence survivors often face. This is a true public health and moral crisis facing our country and facing our state. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are victims of physical violence by an intimate partner in the United States. You've heard and seen this quote that every 9 seconds, someone in this country is a victim of domestic violence. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. On a typical day, there are more than 20,000 phone calls placed to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. It's easy to think that these horrific crimes don't happen here, that they don't happen where we live, but they happen everywhere. Here in Michigan, every hour, there are 39 hotline calls to domestic violence programs in our state. We are here with you this morning because our citizens' safety and even their lives depend on our action. It's long past time to address these issues, and we look forward to continuing to work with our colleagues to move this package through the legislative process expeditiously as an important step to ensuring that our survivors of domestic violence have laws that help them rebuild their lives, not laws that re-victimize them.